You've spent years reacting to people, to pressure, to pain. Every outburst, every spiral, every sleepless night has one root cause. Your mind controls you. This ends now. Emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering it. You are about to learn how to decode your triggers, reprogram your reactions, and lead yourself with calm precision. Take control of your mind before it controls you.
You've been letting emotions take the wheel for too long. Anger hits and you accelerate. Fear whispers and you slam the brakes. Guilt, shame, excitement, jealousy, each one grabs the steering wheel of your life, jerking you from one lane to another. You've mistaken emotional reaction for emotional truth. It's time to take the keys back. Because until you do, your emotions will keep driving you into walls you could have easily avoided. The myth of "I can't help it." People say, "I couldn't help it, I just reacted." That's the greatest lie you've ever told yourself. You can help it, you just never practiced the pause. Emotional intelligence begins when you realize every reaction is a choice. You may not control the first thought, the first feeling, but you control what happens next. That split second between stimulus and response is the birthplace of power. That's where emotional intelligence lives. Most people never step into that space. They live as emotional puppets, pulled by strings of habit, ego, and fear. Something triggers them, and the mind says, defend, attack, withdraw. They obey instantly like slaves to a command. But awareness breaks the chain. You can interrupt the script. You can step back, breathe, and say, not this time. That's where your freedom starts. Pause before you react. Power lives in the pause. The split second that changes everything. Let me show you what the masters do. Top negotiators, elite athletes, special forces operators. They all train one muscle, not their arms, not their voice, their pause. Before they respond, they create one beat of silence. In that space, they think, they observe, they choose. They don't let adrenaline decide their words. They don't let emotion decide their next move. A negotiator pauses before speaking because they know the first emotional impulse, anger, pride, fear, is almost always wrong. A quarterback pauses for a fraction of a second before throwing because instinct without awareness leads to interception. A fighter pauses in the ring before striking because emotional attacks are predictable. Intelligent ones are not. That pause is everything. It's the difference between chaos and control, between reaction and mastery. And that same power is available to you. The next time you feel the heat rising in your chest, stop, breathe. Say to yourself, pause before you react. Power lives in the pause. Repeat it until it becomes reflex.
The mind's hijacking mechanism. Why do we react so fast? Because your brain was built for survival, not serenity. The limbic system, your emotional brain, evolved to scream before it thinks. It sees threat everywhere, a harsh word, a delay, a loss of control. It floods you with chemicals, forcing you into fight, flight, or freeze. And you obey. You text what you shouldn't. You shout what you regret. You storm off, slam doors, or shut down. But here's the truth. Your emotional brain works for you. You are the CEO, not the employee. You can override the hijack. That's emotional intelligence in motion. The moment you pause, you move control from emotion to logic, from the limbic system to the prefrontal cortex. In that instant, Your biology bends to your command. You've turned instinct into strategy. That's not suppression. That's sovereignty. The daily practice of power. Don't wait for big moments to practice this. Train it every day. The pause is a muscle. Build it. When the phone rings and you're irritated, pause. When someone cuts you off in traffic, pause. When someone criticizes you online, pause. Micro pauses create macro control. In time, the world slows down for you. You'll see emotion rise, but it won't control your hands, your words, or your choices. You'll respond from strength, not from storm. Repeat the phrase every day. Pause before you react. Power lives in the pause. Say it out loud. Whisper it when you're triggered. Write it down where you can see it. Every time you practice it, you reprogram your brain. Every pause builds control. Every controlled response builds confidence. Every confident action builds mastery. This is where emotional intelligence begins, not in theory, but in the moment between feeling and choice. That's the battlefield where your higher self wins. You've learned the first rule. Never let emotions drive the car. From now on, you drive with awareness, precision, and control. Because that pause, that split second, is where the old you ends and the master begins. Now that you've taken back the wheel, it's time to protect your awareness. Because once you gain control, the world will try to steal it.
You can't control what you refuse to notice. You can't master what you never observe. And that's where most people lose their power, not in the emotion itself, but in their blindness to it. They feel anger and say, "That's just who I am." They feel anxiety and whisper, "I can't help it." They drown in emotion because they never learned how to see it. Here's the truth. Emotional intelligence doesn't begin with control. It begins with awareness. You can't steer the car until you know you're driving. Awareness is the root of emotional power. Every emotion wants two things: to be felt and to be named. When you name it, you separate from it. You move from being angry to noticing anger. That one shift from identification to observation changes everything. You are not your emotions. You are the consciousness that notices them. That awareness is your real power. But most people live trapped inside their feelings. They merge with anger, fear, or jealousy until it consumes their logic. They don't have emotions. Their emotions have them. Awareness breaks that prison. It says, "I see you, anger. I see you, fear. I'm not fighting you, but I'm not following you." And in that moment, you reclaim control. Name it to tame it. Awareness dissolves chaos. The inner observer technique. Let's talk about the weapon you're going to use from now on, the inner observer. It's the part of you that stands one step behind your thoughts and emotions. It doesn't judge. It doesn't react. It simply notices. When your heart races, the inner observer says, "My heart is racing." When anger rises, it says, "I feel anger building." When fear whispers, it says, "Fear is present." That small sentence, that naming, is awareness in motion. It sounds simple, but it rewires your brain. You stop being inside the storm and start watching it from above. Psychologists have proven this again and again. When you label an emotion, the amygdala, your emotional center, calms down. Naming it transforms chaos into comprehension. That's why the phrase works. Name it to tame it. Awareness dissolves chaos. Say it until it becomes automatic. Every time you feel emotion rising, call it by name. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The shadows lose their power. Observation versus suppression. Let's make something very clear. Observation is not suppression. Observation is not avoidance. You're not here to push emotions away. You're here to see them without becoming them. Suppression is weakness disguised as control. It's emotional denial. It's saying I'm fine when you're not. That's not mastery, that's self-deception. Awareness is different. Awareness is calm acknowledgement. It's saying, yes, I feel this, but it doesn't define me. That's emotional maturity. You can't heal what you refuse to see, and you can't see what you're busy running from. So stop burying emotions under distractions, noise, or fake positivity. Face them with the eyes of awareness, because what you face, you free.
The mirror of emotion. Every emotion reflects something deeper. Anger often hides hurt. Fear hides uncertainty. Jealousy hides insecurity. Awareness lets you decode the real message behind the feeling. When you watch emotion instead of obeying it, you learn from it. Example, you feel irritated when someone criticizes you. Instead of reacting, observe it. Ask yourself, why does this bother me? You'll find the real cause. Maybe it's pride, maybe it's a fear of inadequacy. Now you're no longer controlled by irritation. You've turned emotion into information. That's what awareness does. It transforms pain into insight. Remember, you don't need to silence emotion. You need to listen to it intelligently. And every time you do, you gain wisdom others never access. Real-world practice. 3 steps to awareness. Here's how to apply it. The 3-step awareness drill. Step 1. Notice the sensation. Before the thought, there's always a physical signal. Your jaw tightens, your breath shortens, your chest heats up. Catch it early. The body always speaks first. Step 2. Name the emotion. Say it clearly. This is anger. This is fear. This is jealousy. No stories, no judgment. Just a label. Step 3. Observe without acting. Don't react. Don't rush to fix it. Just watch it. Feel it move through you. The moment you do, it begins to lose intensity. Try this for 30 seconds the next time emotion hits. 30 seconds of awareness will save you from hours of regret. The power of the pause plus awareness. In Chapter 1, you learn the pause. Now, awareness is what fills that pause. It's what you do inside that silence that matters. When you pause, you create space. When you bring awareness into that space, you take control. Without awareness, the pause is empty. With awareness, it's powerful. The combination of pause and awareness turns emotion from chaos into data. And when emotion becomes data, you can use it. You can analyze it, learn from it, and grow because of it. That's how emotional intelligence expands. One conscious pause, one observed feeling at a time. Awareness creates emotional distance. Awareness gives you distance, not detachment, but perspective. You stop drowning in emotion and start steering it. Think of it like a movie. When you're inside the movie, it feels real. When you sit back and watch it, you realize it's just a story playing out. Your mind runs emotional movies every day. Fear, anger, doubt. The moment you become the watcher, not the actor, you gain control. You can say, interesting, I'm watching anger arise. That statement alone dissolves half its power. You're no longer trapped in the emotion. You're free because you can see. Awareness creates choice. Every act of awareness expands your ability to choose. Every time you notice, label, and breathe, you move from reaction to response. Awareness says, I don't have to follow this impulse. Awareness says, I can stay silent instead of shouting. Awareness says, I can let go instead of clinging. The more aware you are, the more options you have. And the more options you have,
the more powerful you become. Most people live like emotional hostages, hijacked by every feeling that appears. But not you. You're training awareness, which means you're training control. Name it to tame it. Awareness dissolves chaos. Say it again. Name it to tame it. Awareness dissolves chaos. That's your mantra now. Awareness turns the mind into an ally. Your mind is not the enemy. It's a powerful tool, but only when you're conscious of it. Unobserved, it runs wild. Observed, it becomes obedient. When you bring awareness to thought, the thought loses grip. When you bring awareness to fear, fear shrinks. Awareness doesn't fight the mind. It educates it. This is why meditation, journaling, or even silent reflection work, not because they erase thought, but because they expose it. Exposure ends control. When you see the pattern, you can rewrite it. That's real mental strength. Awareness is control. When awareness rises, chaos falls. When you notice emotion, you control emotion. And when you control emotion, you master your life. So make awareness your daily practice. Notice the tension in your body. Notice the tone in your voice. Notice the thoughts that rush in. Name them all. Don't judge them. Just see them. Because what you see clearly, you can manage calmly. And what you manage calmly, you can master completely. You've learned that awareness is the real foundation of emotional intelligence. You've learned how to name it, how to tame it, and how to use the inner observer to dissolve chaos before it controls you. But awareness without protection is fragile. Now that you can see emotion clearly, you must learn how to defend your energy from manipulation and emotional intrusion. You've built awareness. Now, let's build armor.
You can't master your emotions until you understand what's behind them. That's the rule. That's the truth. That's emotional intelligence. Most people live like slaves to their feelings, worshiping anger, fear, jealousy, and sadness as if they were divine. They let every emotion dictate their next move, every trigger define their next story. But here's the reality. Emotions are not gods. They're signals. They're messengers. They're mirrors reflecting what's still unhealed inside you. The trigger isn't the enemy. The trigger is the teacher. When something provokes you, when you feel that heat rise, that chest tighten, that ego flare, you've just found a mirror showing you exactly where you still need to grow. But instead of decoding that signal, most people worship the feeling. They protect it, they feed it, they defend it. They say, I'm angry because of you. I'm hurt because of what happened. I'm jealous because they have more. But no, you're not angry because of them. You're angry because a part of you hasn't healed yet. You're not hurt because of the event. You're hurt because an old wound got reopened. You're not jealous because they're better. You're jealous because deep down, you fear you're not enough. When you understand the trigger, the emotion loses its throne. Let's break that down. Every emotional reaction starts with a stimulus. Something happens externally. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your boss criticizes your work. Your partner forgets to text you back. Instantly, a story forms in your mind. They disrespected me. I'm not appreciated. I'm being rejected. That story ignites an emotion, and that emotion drives behavior. That's the chain. Trigger, story, emotion, action. But emotional intelligence reverses the process. Instead of reacting blindly, you pause and decode. You step into observer mode and ask, what is this trigger trying to show me? What story did I just create? Is this reaction about now, or is it about something older? Let's say someone criticizes your work. A person with low emotional intelligence feels attacked. They get defensive, shut down, or fight back. But a person with mastery sees the truth. The criticism touched an old wound, maybe the voice of a parent who once said, "You'll never be good enough." That's not rejection. That's reflection. The trigger isn't about the person in front of you. It's about the memory behind you. This is why emotional awareness is so powerful. It turns chaos into clarity. Instead of saying, "They made me feel this way," you start saying, "This feeling is showing me something." That one shift from blame to observation rewires your entire emotional system. When you understand the trigger, the emotion loses its throne. Because here's the truth. Every trigger is data. It's information about your internal map. Every strong emotion points to an unmet need, a past experience, or a belief that no longer serves you. When you decode it, you start to heal it. When you worship it, you stay trapped by it. Let's talk about the mirror effect. Imagine every person you meet as a mirror. When someone's behavior irritates you, ask why. What quality in them threatens you? What trait in them do you secretly repressing yourself? Often the qualities we judge in others are the ones we've disowned in ourselves. You hate arrogance? Maybe you've buried your confidence. You resent control freaks? Maybe you're scared of your own authority. You can't stand emotional people? Maybe you've silenced your own vulnerability. Your triggers are never random. They are roadmaps. They point directly to the parts of you that are still unresolved. So here's what emotional intelligence demands. Stop worshiping the feeling, start decoding the message.
When you feel anger, don't suppress it, study it. When you feel jealousy, don't deny it, decode it. When you feel fear, don't run, face it. You can't transform what you refuse to understand. You can't understand what you instantly react to. And you can't react consciously without awareness. Let's put this into practice. Next time you feel triggered, do this. Pause. Step out of the reaction. Don't send the text. Don't raise your voice. Don't defend. Name the emotion. I feel angry. I feel rejected. I feel afraid. Naming separates you from the emotion. You are the observer now, not the prisoner. Ask the mirror question. Where have I felt this before? Trace the emotion back to its origin, and you'll often find it's much older than the moment that triggered it. Reframe. This feeling is not my enemy. It's feedback. That's how you take back control. Because the real battlefield of emotional intelligence is not the external world, it's the inner one. You can't control the storm around you, but you can learn to read the weather within you. You can't stop people from triggering you, but you can stop giving those triggers power. Every time you decode a trigger, you reclaim a piece of your strength. You become less reactive, more composed, more conscious. You stop being a puppet pulled by emotional strings. And here's the paradox. Once you stop worshiping the feeling, your emotions actually become cleaner. They stop hijacking you. They start guiding you. Anger becomes clarity. Fear becomes awareness. Sadness becomes release. This is what mastery feels like. Emotional transparency without emotional slavery. Remember this line and repeat it until it becomes instinct. When you understand the trigger, the emotion loses its throne. Say it again. Feel it again. Live it again. You are not your feelings. You are the decoder. You are the observer. You are the master. You've learned to see your triggers for what they truly are, mirrors of your evolution. Now that you've learned to decode the mirror, it's time to build the foundation that makes emotional control effortless. Because understanding is the start, but discipline is the power that sustains it.
Emotions don't start in your mind. They start in your body. Before you ever think a thought, your body has already reacted.
Your breath changes, your heart rate shifts, your muscles tighten. That's the birthplace of emotion, not in your brain, but in your nervous system. You can't control every thought, but you can control your breath. You can't instantly change your mood, but you can change your posture. And when you take command of your physiology, you take command of your emotions. Your body obeys the breath. Your mind obeys the body. That's not philosophy, that's neuroscience. When you're angry, your breathing shortens. When you're anxious, your shoulders hunch. When you're depressed, your spine collapses and your chest caves in. Every emotional state has a physical signature, a predictable pattern that your body runs automatically. And here's the truth most people never learn. The pattern runs both ways. You can use the body to change the emotion. This is emotional intelligence at its most practical level. Not theory, not wishful thinking, but physical mastery. Because the fastest way to influence your mind is through your body. If you can't change how you feel, change how you breathe. If you can't change your thoughts, change your stance. If you can't calm the storm, anchor the body first. Let's start with the most powerful lever you have, the breath. Your breath is the remote control of your mind. It's your internal volume dial. When your breath is shallow, your body goes into survival mode. Your brain releases adrenaline. You react. You panic. You spiral. But when your breath is deep and steady, your nervous system receives a new signal. You are safe. Your heart slows down. Your cortisol drops. Your focus sharpens. Your body obeys the breath. Your mind obeys the body. You can practice this right now. Exhale longer than you inhale. If you breathe in for 4 seconds, exhale for 6. That one act sends a direct message to your brain: stand down, we're not in danger. That's how elite soldiers control fear in combat. That's how surgeons steady their hands before an operation. That's how negotiators stay calm under pressure. They control the physiology before the physiology controls them. You must do the same. Because emotion is not just psychological, it's chemical, physical, biological. And your body is the access point. Let's talk about anger. When you feel anger rise, your breath becomes trapped in the chest. You stop exhaling. Your fists clench. Your jaw tightens. That's the body preparing for war. The fastest way to diffuse anger is not to think calmer thoughts. It's to breathe out. Exhale fully. Empty your lungs. Let the body release the pressure first. Why? Because you can't feel furious and relaxed at the same time. Those two states can't coexist. The body only runs one program at a time. So when you deliberately choose calm breathing, you shut down the anger program. Exhale to diffuse anger. That's the law. Now let's talk about confidence. Confidence is not a thought. It's a position. It's posture. Stand tall, shoulders back, chest open, chin level. Try it. You'll feel it instantly. Your brain releases dopamine. Your voice steadies. Your thoughts slow down. Your mind follows the message the body sends. You're not faking confidence, you're activating it. Because your body is the command center of your emotional state. When you collapse your posture, your brain interprets that as defeat. It releases stress hormones. You feel small. You think small. But when you expand your body, your mind follows the cue. I am safe. I am capable. I am in control. That's not magic. That's biology.
This is the core of emotional intelligence. Control the body and the mind will obey. Lose control of the body and the mind will revolt. This is why high performers always begin with the body, not the emotion. Athletes breathe before they play. Speakers breathe before they talk. Leaders breathe before they respond. Because they understand that mastery doesn't begin in thought, it begins in physiology. So here's your practice. Whenever you feel emotional turbulence, go physical before you go mental. Pause. Don't try to solve the emotion yet. Stop moving. Stop reacting. Breathe. Inhale through the nose for 4. Exhale through the mouth for 6. Do that 3 times. Adjust posture. Straighten your spine. Uncross your arms. Lift your head. Relax the face and jaw. The muscles in your face tell your brain what mood you're in. Soften them. Speak slower. The mind slows to match your rhythm. 5 micro techniques that change your chemistry in seconds. Because when your physiology changes, your psychology follows. Remember this phrase. Say it out loud. Your body obeys the breath. Your mind obeys the body. When you breathe fast, you think fast, and you make mistakes. When you breathe slow, you think clear, and you make power moves. When you sit tall, your brain feels tall. When you collapse, your brain collapses with you. So control your physiology before your emotions hijack it. Don't wait for your feelings to change your body. Use your body to change your feelings. This is not avoidance. This is intelligence, emotional intelligence. Because intelligence is not suppressing emotion, it's guiding it. You're not meant to fight your biology. You're meant to lead it. That's why every ancient practice, from martial arts to meditation, begins with breath and posture. They knew that the mind follows the body. And science now confirms what wisdom always knew. Control your breath, and you control your brain waves, your hormones, your reactions. Your physiology is the steering wheel. Your breath is the gear shift. Use them consciously, and you can navigate any emotional terrain. When you master your physiology, you'll notice something else. Emotions stop feeling like traps. They start feeling like tools. Anger becomes energy. Fear becomes focus. Sadness becomes surrender. You no longer drown in emotions. You ride them. Because mastery is not about killing emotion, it's about commanding it. So next time your heart races, next time your breath shortens, next time you feel hijacked, stop. Drop your shoulders, exhale slowly. Remind your nervous system who's in charge. You can't think your way out of panic, but you can breathe your way out of it. You can't wish away fear, but you can stand your way through it. Control your physiology, and the rest will follow. Your body obeys the breath. Your mind obeys the body. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Because the body is not your enemy, it's your entry point to power. It's the doorway to emotional control, focus, and composure. Master the body, and you master the emotion. Master the emotion, and you master your life. You've learned to regulate your body. Now it's time to refine your inner environment, to master the subtle art that separates reactors from leaders. You've built the foundation of control. Now let's build awareness into silence.
Pain. Everyone feels it. Few understand it. Even fewer use it. Most people run from pain like it's poison. But here's the truth. Pain is not your enemy. It's your raw material for strength. Pain is the forge where emotional intelligence is built. When life burns you, when betrayal breaks you, when failure crushes you, that's not punishment, that's preparation. It's raw energy waiting to be converted into power. Don't escape emotion, extract wisdom from it. That's emotional alchemy, the art of turning pain into purpose, wounds into wisdom, chaos into clarity.
You see, pain itself doesn't destroy you. What destroys you is the story you attach to it. Pain says, this hurts. Your story says, this will never end. Pain says, learn. Your story says, I'm a victim. The emotionally intelligent person learns to separate the pain from the narrative. They stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? That's the shift from reaction to creation, from victimhood to growth. You've been through heartbreak? Good. That's the universe handing you an X-ray of your attachments. You failed publicly? Good. That's life showing you where ego still ruled your decisions. You've lost someone you loved? Good. That's your heart learning the depth of connection and the weight of impermanence. Pain is not meant to be numbed. It's meant to be mined. Because beneath every emotion, there's information. Beneath every wound, there's wisdom. You just have to stay in the fire long enough to see it. But most people don't. They run, they distract, they numb, they chase dopamine, avoid silence, and drown themselves in busyness. Anything to not feel. But the emotion you avoid becomes the emotion that controls you. And the emotion you face becomes the emotion that frees you. Don't escape emotion. Extract wisdom from it. Now let me show you how emotional alchemy works in the real world. A woman loses everything in a breakup. Her partner, her confidence, her direction. For months, she spirals. But one day, instead of running from the pain, she studies it. She asks, what was I ignoring? What was I depending on them to give me that I should have built in myself? That's alchemy. She doesn't suppress the emotion. She transforms it. She turns heartbreak into self-discovery, loss into independence, pain into personal power. Or consider the man who fails in business, publicly, painfully, humiliatingly. Everyone watches him fall. Most would drown in shame, but he steps back and studies the pain. He finds the lesson inside it. He learns about humility, resilience, timing, patience. And that failure becomes the foundation of his next success. That's emotional intelligence in motion. That's alchemy. Pain is a teacher if you let it teach. Every emotional wound carries a message. The more intense the pain, the more powerful the message. So don't suppress the emotion. Sit with it, name it, dissect it. Let it speak before you silence it. Ask, what is this emotion trying to show me? What belief is being challenged? What truth am I resisting? Because emotions are not chaos, they're data. And emotional mastery means reading that data instead of drowning in it. Don't escape emotion. Extract wisdom from it. Now let's talk about transformation. Every great transformation in history came through pain. Buddha faced suffering before enlightenment. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years in prison before leading a nation. Every artist, every leader, every visionary, they all turned personal pain into collective power. Why? Because pain has the power to refine. It burns away illusions. It humbles ego. It forces clarity. When you're comfortable, you don't evolve. When you're in pain, you pay attention. Pain demands presence. And that presence, that awareness, is where transformation begins. But transformation doesn't happen automatically. You must choose it. You must take the raw emotion and decide what to do with it. Here's the formula: pain into presence, into perspective, into power. Pain wakes you up. Presence grounds you. Perspective teaches you. And power returns once you've learned.
Let's make this practical. Next time you feel emotional pain, don't run. Don't distract. Don't drown it in noise. Instead, pause and do this. Name the pain.
I feel rejected. I feel disappointed. I feel lost. Naming creates separation. You're not the emotion, you're observing it. Locate it. Feel where it lives in the body, your chest, your stomach, your throat. Stay with it. Breathe into it. Ask the question, what is this emotion trying to teach me? Maybe it's showing you where you seek external validation. Maybe it's revealing where you've been avoiding truth. Extract the lesson. Once you see the pattern, name it. Write it down. That's your gold, your wisdom. Every time you do this, you're turning emotion into information. You're performing emotional alchemy. Pain loses its power when it becomes purposeful. And that's what emotional intelligence is. Not avoiding emotion, but using it. When you master this, pain stops being personal. You stop seeing life as happening to you and start seeing it as happening for you. The breakup wasn't punishment, it was alignment. The rejection wasn't failure, it was redirection. The loss wasn't cruelty, it was awakening. Every wound becomes a doorway to a stronger version of you. So stop cursing the fire, learn to forge with it. Stop numbing the pain, learn to shape it. Stop running from emotion, learn to listen to it. Because when you extract wisdom from pain, you stop suffering and you start evolving. You stop asking for comfort, you start asking for clarity. You stop blaming the world, you start mastering yourself. This is what emotional alchemy is all about, turning inner chaos into inner command, turning raw pain into refined power, turning every breakdown into the beginning of breakthrough. Don't escape emotion, extract wisdom from it. Repeat that until it becomes reflex. You are not meant to live pain-free. You are meant to live pain-aware, to see every emotional storm as a training ground. Emotional intelligence doesn't protect you from pain. It equips you to transform it. Pain doesn't end you. It refines you. And if you learn to use it, it becomes the fuel for your next level. Remember, gold is purified by fire. Diamonds are formed by pressure. And you are sculpted by emotional friction. You've learned how to transform pain into power. Now it's time to master the external battlefield, to use this same intelligence when dealing with the emotions of others. You've conquered your internal storms. Now learn to navigate someone else's.
You've mastered awareness. You've learned to decode your triggers. You've even started transforming pain into power. But now it's time to face the enemy that hides in plain sight: emotional manipulation. Because here's the truth: not every battle is worth fighting. Not every emotion you feel is even yours. Some are engineered, crafted to pull you back into chaos. This is where emotional intelligence becomes armor. The silent attack. You felt it before. Someone walks into the room, and suddenly your mood shifts. You were calm, now you're tense. You were grounded, now you're defending yourself from invisible pressure. That's not imagination. That's energy theft. Emotional manipulators don't need to raise their voice. They drain you with tone, guilt, sarcasm, or silence. They use your empathy as a weapon. They win when you react. And that's the key truth of this chapter. Emotional vampires thrive on your reactivity. Starve them with silence. They don't feed on logic. They feed on your energy, your frustration, your explanations, your desperate attempt to be understood. Every time you justify yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you, you're bleeding energy. So stop explaining yourself to people who don't want the truth. Stop negotiating your boundaries with people who benefit from crossing them. Remember this: your peace is your weapon. Guard it. The game they play.
Emotional manipulators use 4 main tactics, and emotional intelligence is your shield against each one. Tactic 1. Guilt tripping. They make you feel like protecting your boundaries is cruelty. I can't believe you do this after everything I've done for you. That's emotional blackmail disguised as affection. Don't argue, don't justify. Say calmly, I understand you feel that way, but my decision stands. Then, stop talking. Silence is your firewall. Tactic 2. Gaslighting. They twist reality until you doubt your own perception. They'll say, you're too sensitive, or that never happened. Your antidote is radical self-trust. When you know your truth, you stop needing theirs. Tactic 3. Projection. They accuse you of what they're doing. They cheat, but call you unfaithful. They lie, but say you can't be trusted. Don't play defense. Recognize it for what it is. Deflection. Return to your center. Tactic 4. Emotional overexposure. They overshare, cry, explode, or collapse, forcing you to become their emotional caretaker. But empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. Their chaos is not your responsibility. Repeat that until it burns into your mind. Their chaos is not your responsibility. Building the wall without closing the heart. Emotional self-defense isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming clear. You don't need to harden, you need to filter. The goal isn't isolation, it's discernment. You can still be kind, but with conditions. You can still love, but with limits. Here's a practical framework. When someone disrespects you, respond with distance, not debate. When someone provokes you, choose breath, not battle. When someone guilts you, choose clarity, not compliance. Your silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Because silence isn't the absence of power, it's the concentration of it. You win when you no longer need to prove your point. You win when you can watch chaos unfold without losing your inner stillness.
Internal detachment, the ultimate defense. The strongest form of emotional defense isn't external, it's internal. It's the ability to stay calm while others lose control, to witness manipulation without absorbing it. That's emotional neutrality, and it's a superpower. Here's how to build it. Pause before reacting. Don't answer immediately. Let the silence expose the manipulator's intent. Name what's happening. Say quietly in your mind, they're trying to trigger me. Breathe through the body. Remember the anchor from earlier. Your body obeys the breath. Slow exhale, relaxed posture. The storm loses its grip. Detach from outcome. You don't need to win. You only need to remain sovereign. When you stop giving emotional access to people who don't deserve it, your energy skyrockets. Suddenly, you have clarity again. Suddenly, you can think. Because reactivity is slavery. But calm detachment? That's freedom. Boundary phrases that reclaim power. You need words that hold the line. Phrases that stop energy theft before it begins. Here are a few. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that discussion. Let's agree to disagree. You might be right. The fastest way to end a manipulator's monologue. I hear you. Then stay silent. Don't fill the space. Make them sit in it. These phrases sound simple, but when delivered with emotional composure, they're nuclear. Remember, you don't owe emotional access to anyone who drains you. Boundaries aren't rude, they're responsible. The power shift. Every manipulator fears one thing: a person who cannot be controlled through emotion.
When you stop feeding them energy, the dynamic flips. They lose power. You regain presence. Their chaos no longer dictates your peace. That's emotional self-defense. Not loud, not dramatic, but surgical. Because power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just stays silent and walks away. Your peace is your weapon. Guard it. Transition. You've learned to defend your emotional space. You've built walls without losing warmth. You've reclaimed your peace from manipulators and thieves of energy. Now it's time to talk about something even deeper, the emotional habit that shapes every decision you make. Because emotional intelligence isn't just about protection, it's about precision. You defended your peace. Now, let's master your choices.
Leadership is emotional intelligence in action. But here's the hard truth most people refuse to admit. Chaos never inspires trust. Panic never motivates. Anxiety never leads. If you want to influence, to guide, to inspire, you must first master yourself. Because no one follows a storm. They follow a calm center. Calm is strength. Calm is control. Calm leads. The first principle, emotional stability is leadership. Think about it. In moments of crisis, what do people look for? Not charisma, not expertise, not intelligence. They look for composure. Composure is magnetic. Composure communicates clarity. Composure projects authority. Emotional instability, on the other hand, is infectious. When the leader panics, everyone panics. When the leader lashes out, everyone braces for impact. Chaos spreads faster than fire. This is why emotional stability is not optional for leaders. It is mandatory. And here's the kicker. Emotional stability is not about suppressing feelings. It's about regulating them. You can feel fear, anger, or doubt, but you do not display them uncontrolled. You channel the energy, you pace it, you project calm regardless of the internal storm. Calm is strength. Calm is control. Calm leads. Tone, pace, and language, the leader's tools. Let's break it down with real-world examples. Consider elite military leaders, CEOs, or emergency responders. In the heat of crisis, they never shout blindly, they never rush, they never spew emotion. Instead, tone, measured, confident, steady. Pace, slow, deliberate, unhurried. Language, clear, concise, authoritative. These three factors are louder than words. The team feels it, the room absorbs it, the chaos slows down. Imagine a boardroom. The company is in crisis. A panicked executive screams, "We're doomed!" Staff scatter. Fear multiplies. Decisions are clouded. Now imagine a leader in the same situation. They speak calmly. Here's the problem. Here's the solution. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. The team breathes. Clarity emerges. Action follows. See the difference. One spreads chaos. One spreads control. One is followed. One is feared. Calm is strength. Calm is control. Calm leads. How to build a calm presence. Becoming this type of leader is not luck, it's skill. And emotional intelligence is the training ground. Here's how to practice. Pause before speaking. Every sentence matters. Every word signals stability or instability. Pause, collect yourself, think before you speak. Regulate your breath. Calm breath slows heart rate. Slowed heart rate communicates confidence. Your body tells your brain you are in control, and everyone around you mirrors that energy. Anchor your posture. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin level, Open chest. A leader's body speaks first, words follow. Neutralize reactive language. Avoid, "I don't know," "this is terrible," or "we might fail." Replace with deliberate constructive phrasing. "Here's what we do next," or "we solve this by." Internalize control. You can't control everything outside, but you can control your tone, your pacing, your presence. Practice saying to yourself, "Calm is my choice. Calm is my command." Every time you project calm, you create a ripple. Every word measured, every breath steady, every pause intentional. You lead by example, not by shouting, not by reaction, not by fear.
Emotional contagion, the leadership multiplier. Emotional states are contagious. Humans unconsciously mirror the emotions of those around them. Leaders set the tone. Literally, if you are calm, the room slows. If you are reactive, the room accelerates into chaos. If you speak in panic, people panic. If you speak in measured control, people follow with clarity. This is why leadership begins with the self. Before you inspire, you must stabilize. Before you direct, you must regulate. Before you influence, you must center. Calm is strength. Calm is control. Calm leads. Real-world case study. Consider the example of a CEO facing a financial crisis. Stock plummets, investors panic, employees whisper fear into every corridor. The first CEO reacts emotionally, tweets angrily, calls endless meetings, vents to the media. Shareholders lose confidence, staff morale collapses, the company's trajectory worsens. The second CEO reacts differently, calmly, purposefully. They step into the office, breath slow, words measured, tone deliberate. They call a single meeting, concise agenda, clear solutions, structured steps. They speak calmly in interviews. They reassure investors without sugarcoating. They take decisive actions with precision. Outcome? Confidence restored. Employees feel direction. Investors regain trust. The company stabilizes. Notice the difference? The second CEO didn't suppress emotion. They controlled it. They projected stability. They led with calm. Calm is strength. Calm is control. Calm leads. Daily practices to embed calm leadership. To internalize this habit, integrate these into daily life. Morning centering ritual. 5 to 10 minutes of deep breath, visualization, or meditation. Condition your mind to start calm. Micro pauses during day. Before any challenging interaction, pause, breathe, collect your words. Reflective journaling. Note moments of emotional reaction. Evaluate how you could have responded with calm. Mirror practice. Speak calmly to yourself in the mirror. Observe your tone, your pace, your expression. Anchor words. Use mantras like calm is strength, calm is control, calm leads. Over time, calm becomes reflexive, leadership becomes natural, influence becomes effortless. The leadership transition. Remember, emotional intelligence isn't just about self-mastery. It's about the impact you create in others. A calm mind stabilizes chaos. A controlled voice creates trust. A deliberate leader inspires followership. If you mastered your internal storms, the external world bends to your steadiness. Now that you've learned to lead with calm, it's time to advance into the realm of influence through emotional perception. Because a great leader doesn't just remain calm, they read the emotions around them and act with precision. Next chapter, Reading the Room, the Art of Emotional Perception. Calm is strength. Calm is control. Calm leads. Repeat it, live it, lead with it.
You've learned to defend your energy. You've mastered calm under pressure. You've transformed pain into power. Now, we take the next step, detachment. And let me be clear, detachment is not indifference. It is not coldness. It is not shutting down your emotions or abandoning empathy. Detachment is clarity. When you detach, you remove the fog. You stop being pulled by every impulse, every manipulation, every fleeting emotional reaction. You see the situation for what it truly is. And once you see clearly, you can act decisively. Detach, observe, decide. Never react blind. Why detachment is essential? Most people live trapped inside their feelings. They react first, think later. They interpret reality through the lens of desire, fear, or ego. When you react this way, you are blind. Your vision is clouded by emotion, your judgment compromised, your actions are impulsive. Leaders, high performers, emotionally intelligent individuals, they operate differently. They step back. They create space between stimulus and response. They observe the emotion without letting it dictate the outcome. Detachment allows you to recognize bias, reduce impulsivity, make choices aligned with long-term objectives rather than short-term emotional storms. This is not avoidance. It is empowerment. Detach, observe, decide, never react blind. The cloud visualization technique. Here's a method I want you to practice immediately. I call it the cloud technique. Picture your emotions as clouds passing through the sky of your mind. A criticism comes. See it as a cloud drifting by. A fear arises. Watch it move across your mental sky. A sudden urge. Let it float without anchoring it. The key is observation without absorption. You do not deny the cloud. You do not try to destroy it. You simply watch. Notice its shape. Notice its color. Notice its intensity. And then allow it to pass. The cloud moves. The sky remains. The storm is temporary. You are not the storm. You are the observer. Repeat this in your mind. Detach, observe, decide. Never react blind. Over time, this becomes instinctive. Your brain learns to pause. Your nervous system learns calm. Your actions become deliberate, not reactive.
Real-world applications. Imagine a heated negotiation. The other party insults you, challenges your credibility, and tries to provoke a reaction. Most people respond instantly, defensive, angry, reactive. They lose leverage. They compromise outcomes. They fuel conflict. The emotionally detached person observes, "This is an attempt to trigger me. I feel the irritation, but I choose not to act on it impulsively." They pause, they breathe, they speak only when clarity emerges. Result: control, influence, respect. Outcome aligned with intention, not emotion. Another example. Imagine a personal relationship. A partner is critical or dismissive. You feel hurt instantly. Without detachment, you lash out. You escalate. You create unnecessary conflict. With detachment, you note, "I feel hurt. That's valid, but I will not allow my reaction to dictate the conversation." You respond with clarity, not chaos. Detach, observe, decide, never react blind. Detachment versus suppression. Let's address the confusion. Detachment is not suppression. Suppression says, "I will ignore this emotion." Detachment says, "I acknowledge this emotion, but I will not let it control me." Suppression leads to eventual eruption. Detachment leads to mastery. Emotion is data, not dictatorship. It informs, but it does not rule. Detach to see clearly. The cloud passes. The mind stays sharp. The decision is intentional. Step-by-step detachment practice. Pause immediately. At the first sign of strong emotion, stop. Do not speak. Do not act. Create space. Label the emotion. Say internally, "This is anger. This is fear. This is frustration." Naming reduces the intensity. It separates you from the feeling. Visualize the cloud. Imagine the emotion as a cloud moving across your mental sky. Observe it without attaching. Breathe and center.
Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6. Feel the calm in your body. Decide action intentionally. Ask, what is the best course of action aligned with my values and goals? Respond, do not react. Do this repeatedly. Make it a daily habit. Make detachment your default. Detachment in high-pressure scenarios. Think of elite athletes, surgeons, pilots, or crisis leaders. They encounter high-pressure situations constantly. The athlete feels the pressure, but focuses on the play. The surgeon notices stress, but maintains steady hands and clear decisions. The pilot senses turbulence, but remains calm, methodical, and in control. What separates them from the average person is detachment. They observe the situation, process data, and act with precision. Emotional intelligence is not about avoiding emotion. It is about regulating it. It is about pausing, detaching, and deciding with clarity. Detach, observe, decide, never react blind. The emotional advantage. Once you practice detachment consistently, your mind is clearer, your choices are deliberate, your relationships are healthier, your influence is stronger. Detachment is the gateway to advanced emotional intelligence. It allows you to navigate conflict, stress, and manipulation with a composed mind. It ensures that you act from strategy, not impulse. It transforms chaos into clarity, and the result? You become a force that is respected, trusted, and unshakable. Transition. You've learned to detach, observe, and decide. You've practiced seeing emotions as clouds. You've trained your mind to act with clarity instead of reaction. The next step is integration, bringing all this skill into the way you communicate with others, because detachment is powerful internally, but influence requires external finesse. Next chapter, Reading the Room, the art of emotional perception. Detach, observe, decide, never react blind. Repeat it, live it, apply it, master it.
You've learned detachment. You've learned to observe without reacting. You've defended your energy and led with calm. Now it's time for the most powerful tool in emotional intelligence, reprogramming your emotional patterns. Because here's the truth. Every emotional reaction you experience today comes from a story you learned yesterday. Every instinct, every trigger, every knee-jerk response, it's written in the software of your mind. And the most important truth, you can rewrite it. Repetition rewires emotion. Repetition rewires you. Your mind is a script. Consider your brain as a stage. Your thoughts and emotions are actors performing a script. Most people don't realize the script is old. It's full of outdated lines, old fears, and borrowed beliefs. You're not enough. They will always leave. I can't handle this. Every time an old line runs, the emotion it carries comes alive. You relive fear. You relive sadness. You react the same way, over and over. Emotional reprogramming is editing that script. It's taking control of the narrative. It's replacing the lines that no longer serve you with lines that empower you. Repetition rewires emotion. Repetition rewires you. Identify the old story. Before you rewrite, you must first read the script. Ask yourself, which situations trigger strong automatic emotions in me? What is the story I'm telling myself in those moments? Where did this story come from? Childhood, trauma, or past failures? Example, a partner criticizes you and instantly you feel rejection. The automatic story might be, I am unworthy of love. Notice it, name it, observe it without reacting. Recognition is the first step to transformation. You cannot change what you do not see. Repetition rewires emotion. Repetition rewires you. Reframe the narrative. Once you've identified the old story, it's time to rewrite it. Reframing is simple in principle, but powerful in practice. It replaces reactive phrases with empowering alternatives. Example: old script, I am hurt, I can't trust. New script, I am learning, I observe, I grow. Old script, I always fail under pressure. New script, I respond with clarity under pressure. I improve with practice. Notice the difference. The first set reinforces pain, fear, and limitation. The second set reinforces learning, control, and growth. You are literally teaching your brain a new way to respond.
Repetition, the engine of change. Reprogramming is not a one-time exercise. The brain does not rewrite overnight. Old habits are stubborn. Old stories are persistent. The weapon here is repetition. Repeat your new phrases silently in moments of calm. Repeat them when triggers arise. Repeat them until the old response feels weak. Every repetition strengthens new neural pathways. Every repetition shifts emotional default from reaction to reflection. Every repetition proves to your mind, this is the new story. This is the truth I choose. Repetition rewires emotion. Repetition rewires you. Daily emotional reprogramming practice. Here's a simple, powerful routine you can start today. Identify trigger patterns. Morning journaling. List situations that typically trigger strong emotions. Identify the story behind each. Create reframing phrases. For each trigger, write a replacement line. Example: I am learning, not failing. Repeat and internalize. Repeat each phrase 10 to 20 times, aloud or silently. Feel it, believe it. Apply in real time. When a trigger arises, immediately call on the new line. Observe your reaction, redirect it. Review and refine. At night, reflect. Which old stories appeared? Did the new phrases weaken the old reactions? Adjust and strengthen daily. This is not magic. It is method. It is repetition. It is patience combined with action. Real-world example. Consider a professional who constantly feels criticized at work. Every minor feedback triggers anxiety. Old script: I'm not capable, I'll fail. After identifying the pattern, they begin reframing. Feedback is information. I grow with every observation. They repeat the phrase during calm moments. They repeat it during stressful meetings. Over weeks, the automatic anxiety fades. Reactions slow. Decisions improve. Confidence grows. They are no longer a victim of an old story. They are the author of their response. Repetition rewires emotion. Repetition rewires you. Anchor new emotional responses. To strengthen the new script, anchor it in your body. Pair the new phrase with a physical cue, a deep exhale, a hand on your chest, a slight nod. The body learns alongside the mind. Emotional reaction becomes embodied. Soon the new response is automatic. Calm, clarity, and choice become your default. Remember, old stories die hard. New scripts take time. Persistence is non-negotiable. Repetition rewires emotion. Repetition rewires you. Detach and rewrite in real time. Combine detachment and reprogramming for maximum power. Pause when a trigger arises. Detach. Observe. Identify the old story. Replace it with the new script. Act intentionally, not impulsively. You are not erasing emotion. You are redirecting it. You are choosing empowerment over reactivity. This is emotional mastery in action. This is the core skill of emotional intelligence. Repetition rewires emotion. Repetition rewires you. Transition. You've learned to identify triggers, detach from reaction, and rewrite your internal script. You've practiced repetition to rewire emotion. The next step is integration.
bringing all of these skills together to act decisively and lead your life with clarity, power, and purpose. Next chapter, the final mastery, aligning emotion with action. Repetition rewires emotion. Repetition rewires you. Repeat it, internalize it, live it. Transform your reactions into mastery.
You've mastered detachment. You've learned to lead with calm. You've reprogrammed your emotional scripts. Now, the question is simple. What comes next? The answer is integration. Because emotional intelligence is not a moment. It is not a single skill. It is not a trick or a tool. True mastery is a lifestyle, a daily commitment to awareness, deliberate calm, and consistent reflection. You are not your feelings. You are the force behind them. Emotional mastery is a habit. Most people think emotional intelligence is a skill to use when needed. Wrong. It's a habit. It's a way of living. It is waking up each day and choosing awareness over autopilot. It is deciding that panic, anger, and fear will not dictate your day. It is observing, pausing, and responding deliberately, every day, in every moment. Think of the emotionally intelligent person. They don't just react less, they live differently. They choose their thoughts, words, and actions consistently. You are not your feelings. You are the force behind them. Daily integration practices. Integration is about creating routines that reinforce your mastery. Here's how to implement it immediately. Morning reflection. Before your day begins, spend 5 minutes observing your internal state. Ask, what emotions am I bringing into today? Which old stories might try to hijack me? Name them. Detach from them. Set your intentions. Mindful action throughout the day. Pause frequently. Observe your reactions. Ask yourself, am I reacting out of habit or choosing my response consciously? Small conscious choices accumulate into powerful transformation. Evening journaling and review. Before sleep, reflect. Which moments were reactive? Which moments showed control? How can I improve tomorrow? This reflection solidifies new neural pathways, making calm, deliberate action automatic. Solitude and internal space. Spend time alone. No distractions. Observe your thoughts and emotions. Solitude builds clarity. Solitude strengthens attachment. Solitude reinforces the awareness that you are not your feelings. You are the force behind them. Living beyond reactivity. The emotionally intelligent life is about moving from reaction to deliberate action. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you don't flare instantly. When criticism comes at work, you don't collapse. When stress builds, you don't panic. Instead, you pause, you observe, you choose your response, you act with intention. This is not denial. This is mastery. This is freedom. You are not your feelings. You are the force behind them.
Emotional awareness in relationships. Mastery isn't only personal, it is relational. You listen deeply. You respond without emotional hijacking. You see the triggers and patterns in others without judgment. You navigate conflict with clarity, empathy, and firmness. This is the ultimate social leverage. People follow calm, deliberate leaders. People trust those who act from observation, not reaction. Your relationships deepen. Your influence grows. Your life becomes aligned with purpose. You are not your feelings. You are the force behind them. The role of reflection rituals. Reflection rituals anchor emotional intelligence in real life. Morning intention setting clarifies your emotional state. Midday micropauses prevent reactive spirals. Evening journaling rewires your mental scripts. Periodic solitude reconnects you to your internal force. These rituals are not optional. They are the scaffolding of emotional mastery. Without reflection, even the most advanced techniques fail. Awareness fades, reactivity returns, old habits reclaim control. Consistency is non-negotiable. Daily practice is the difference between theory and mastery. You are not your feelings. You are the force behind them. Mindful action as a lifestyle. Living emotionally intelligently is not passive. It is mindful action. You choose how to speak. You choose how to listen. You choose which emotions to fuel and which to observe and release. Deliberate action aligns behavior with intention. It turns emotional intelligence into results. It turns insight into influence. You are not simply managing emotions, you are commanding them. You are the pilot. Emotions are the instruments. You are not your feelings, you are the force behind them. The long game, transformation over time. The emotionally intelligent life is not built overnight. Habits compound, neural pathways strengthen through repetition. Mastery grows through small, deliberate daily choices. Do not seek instant perfection, seek consistency, seek commitment, seek integration. Over months and years, your default state becomes calm, deliberate, and self-aware. Your relationships flourish, your decisions sharpen, your influence expands. You have transformed not just your reactions, but your life. You are not your feelings, you are the force behind them. Embodying the message. To truly live this life, pause before you react, detach before you judge, reframe your old stories, observe your emotions without being ruled by them, repeat empowering phrases, reflect daily, act mindfully. The repetition anchors these habits into your nervous system. The reflection solidifies your awareness. The mindful action manifests mastery. Emotion becomes a tool, not a tyrant. Life becomes intentional, not chaotic. You are not your feelings. You are the force behind them. Transition to full mastery. You've now learned all the critical skills: pausing before reaction, observing without attachment, decoding triggers, controlling your physiology, turning pain into power, protecting your energy, leading with calm, detaching for clarity, rewriting your mental scripts, and finally, you've integrated them into a daily lifestyle. The final step is simple. Live it every moment intentionally. The emotionally intelligent life is not a destination, it is a practice, it is a commitment. It is the foundation for mastery in every area of life. You are not your feelings, you are the force behind them. Repeat it, live it, lead with it, transform your life with it.
Emotional intelligence isn't about being emotionless. It's about being untouchable. You've learned how to pause before reacting, how to decode your triggers, how to turn pain into wisdom, and how to protect your peace like it's gold. The world doesn't need more reactive minds. It needs grounded ones. You can be that mind. From this moment forward, no one owns your emotions, no situation dictates your state, and no trigger defines your power. Take control of your breath, your focus, your choices every time. Because the moment you master your emotions, you master your life. Now it's your turn. Pause, breathe, and lead yourself.